So hi everyone, I'm here with Christie from Caldera Labs, and so the first thing, obviously, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. My name is Christie Chirinos, and I am one of the co-owners of Caldera WP. We make a suite of WordPress products, including Caldera Forms, which is a pretty popular drag-and-drop form builder for WordPress.
Cool. So, the very important question, what's the history behind you and WordPress? How did it all start? Why WordPress?
Yeah, so this is pretty funny. When I was in college, I started a business that aimed to teach young people about personal finance through technology. So how to save your money, budget your money, whatever. And I didn't know the first thing about web development. I just had this idea, and I really cared about teaching people to manage their money. So my website was WordPress. And from there, it became a matter of, hey, well, if I don't want to have to get in contact with a web developer every time I want something, then I need to learn WordPress. And getting involved in that technology, seeing that was going on around the project that I was doing was good, and that's how I met my now business partner, Josh, who worked very deeply with WordPress at that point. And I said, hey, I'm learning a ton about this new stuff, or I'm learning a ton about this stuff. It's new to me, and I would love to just get to learn more from you. And a year and a half later, after staying in touch, we went into business together.
That's really inspiring, actually. So obviously, we all know there's a lack of women in the tech industry, and WordPress is no exception at all. Yeah. So, and you're a great example of a very successful woman in this industry. So, why do you think that is? Why there's a lack of women here?
I think a lot of it has to do with the larger problem at hand of women in technology as a whole, right? Technology can be alienating to women. Our society tends to treat technology, and especially software development, as a men's thing, right? I tell people this story almost all the time, where I've been making websites since I was 14 years old. Not WordPress websites, but just random websites. I was super into the computer. I set up my own online store. I set up my own website to promote my business when I was 14, teaching kids in neighborhood piano, right? And no one in my life was wow, you're making websites? That didn't click in anyone's head, where I bet you if I had been a boy, they would have been oh wow, they're really good at computers, right? But instead it was oh, you're teaching piano, you probably won't make that much money as a teacher, but if you love it, you can. And then my store was for my jewelry. So it was oh, she likes making jewelry, right? And so this is how our world puts people in boxes without necessarily thinking about them and everything they're doing. And then you have the factor of, I think, open source is even a little bit more alienating to women because it's all out in the public. And so it's much more ripe for harassment and abuse. And so these two factors together maybe become a difficult thing, but I think that that's changing a lot. I think that even when Josh and I started working together, it was where are the women, right? And now it's you and I are sitting here, and there's tons of really amazing and inspiring women coming to these events and running their businesses, and a lot of women that I'm looking to, and I'm oh, you're a badass CEO, and that's awesome.
So you think that there are going to be a lot more women in the future in the tech industry and in WordPress?
I think it has to even out. 50% of the population is women, right?
Exactly.
And we are gravitating towards making that happen. So at some point, we're going to have 50% women in leadership, and maybe even more, right? We actually know that when we look at the patterns of businesses that are ran by women, women are more emotionally intelligent, so they're better leaders. Women are more sensitive to the needs of a team, so they run more profitable enterprises. And we might even see that skill tip a little bit forward. There is a woman who's very famous here in the US, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's the Supreme Court Justice. And there's this very famous quote from her where somebody asks her, how many women in the Supreme Court will be enough? And she says, all of them. And it's like, how could she say that? How could you say that? Well, there's been a Supreme Court with all men. Why not all women? So
Extremely inspiring. So, and what would be your advice for any girl who wants to join the industry?
I think don't be afraid. Definitely what I just said, right? Like when we look at the numbers and the statistics, women run more successful businesses. So it's actually an advantage. I think that a lot of women aren't necessarily thinking about your womanhood when you go into business. You're thinking about your idea and the thing that you're excited about. And then when you start doing business, your womanhood is thrown in your face. And so don't let that derail you, and just keep moving forward and note it and be like, oh, that's why that happened. And then just keep moving forward.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully that's what we're going to see. And the last question I have is, so maybe you've noticed the logo of WP Crib is a duck. So what do you think? How does a duck sound like when you make a duck noise?
I mean, in English it's like quack quack, right?
It is.
In Spanish, it's like, well, it's quack quack too, but like a different quack. Like it's like
Quack with an accent.
yeah, it's like quack with an accent, right? Like, but it's like, oh, like if you're a duck, it's like quack quack, instead of like quack quack.
That's the first time we've heard that. Thank you so much. This has been really inspiring. So hopefully we'll see you soon enough again. So thank you.
Cool. This was fun.